Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Live. We are going to start talking about some stuff in the market. I mean, the market's being crazy, I think. But it's not flowing the way that I think people want it to flow. And we've had interest rates kind of come down, but where are our buyers? And we're going to talk about all of that. So first off, I want to know where you all are watching from. So make sure you put that in the comments down here, because I'd like to know, are you local or are you not? And then make sure you're asking questions, because that's what we're here for. And for this little conversation, I am bringing my friend Lisa up. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So Lisa is in Sarasota, Florida. So Lisa, what time is it there for you?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. So thank you for being on at 6 o'clock on a Friday, which I know is, it's always a challenge, but yeah, I mean, our market, yours and my market, we've talked quite a bit. Yours and my market seem to be very similar as far as, price points and buyers and those kinds of things. So it's interesting to see kind of how your market is reacting to what's going on right now versus how ours is reacting, and just kind of comparing and contrasting, because every market is different.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, even though like our price points are pretty similar, and it seems like kind of the demographics of the buyer and all that seem to be, pretty similar. But things are different. So Trail 70 Brent, I'm watching from Columbus, Ohio, but I lived in South Scottsdale for 35 years. Welcome. Thanks for watching. So I want to talk, we're going to jump right into one of the articles. I'm going to bring it up here. This says home buyer shortage forces many sellers to lower prices, walk away as slump drags on. And that's the thing I think that everyone's like, well, the market is moving more towards a buyer's market, so therefore shouldn't prices be coming down? And why are they not coming down fast enough, and what's going on? So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. So what this article says is skyrocketing housing values and a shortage of homes on the market give homeowners an upper hand for years when it came time to sell. That's no longer a given. Across the country, it's getting tougher for sellers to drive a hard bargain. A dearth of home shoppers who can afford to buy and uncertainty about the outlook for the economy, jobs, and mortgage rates is putting pressure on sellers to give ground at the negotiating table. In some markets, mainly in the South and the West, homeowners who are eager to sell are more likely to give buyers a better deal. This could include a lower price, upfront money to nudge down the buyer's mortgage rate, and funds for closing costs and any repairs or improvements that may pop up after the home inspection. I'm going to jump back over here. What are you guys seeing there right now as far as seller concessions, basically is what we call it?
Yeah. So I would say buyers are looking for a good value, right?
Mm-hmm.
And value is obviously very subjective. But when it comes to what I have found, buyers are very picky about the age of mechanicals on a home, whether that be the roof, the air conditioner, your electrical panel, water heater. So that's where I see sellers coming to the table and saying, like, I guess, even before we get offers, even before we get to the negotiating with a buyer, I'm starting to see sellers say, should I, should I, replace my air conditioner? Should I be doing these things before we even get down the road? Because in our market, an air conditioner or water heater, if it's more than 10 years old, people are like, it needs to be replaced.
Right.
So we're already addressing that a little bit up front, and buyers definitely are looking for that.
Absolutely. We have the same thing. I mean, because we're both in, warmer climates. And, we always joke, I'm like, an air conditioner here is not like a luxury. It is a necessity.
Yeah.
Like, and you have to have air here in the summer.
And we use air year round because of the humidity. So.
Right. You guys use it like just to kind of take the humidity out of the air, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so crazy. Anyway, but we have the same thing. People that go in and they look at a house and they think, it's 10 years old, and if they're not used to having an air conditioner, running an air conditioner, they immediately think, oh my gosh, 10 years old, I'm going to have to replace it like tomorrow, right? And I always look at them like, no, not necessarily. I'm like, then the question is always, well, how long can an air conditioner last? I'm like, I've had on my last house and on the house that we're in now, they were both over 25 years old. I mean, we would have it serviced and we would, it's okay.
Sorry.
We'd have it serviced and looked at and all of that. So it kept the system running a lot better. So, I mean, you have to service it, but you can have an air
Yeah.
conditioner last for quite a while.
Yes, definitely. Same with water heater.
Yeah.
But what we're finding with like that is the insurance companies don't want to insure the property after a certain age. We definitely, I don't know what it's like for you guys, but with insurance, we have specific things that our insurance companies are looking for. So even though air conditioner or water heater roof can last so much longer, there's like a limited amount where they're will insure it. So now that's why buyers are like, well, how old is that? I'm just gonna ask for this.
Right.
And some sellers are very open to that. Or we're getting those people that are just making offers, 6-7% below list price and saying, okay, I'll do it myself.
Right.
But I'm going to really negotiate with you.
Right. Exactly. All right. We're going to jump back in here. All right. So some of the key markets. Oh, I got that one. So the reasons would-be buyers balk at what they view as unreasonable asking prices, while at the same time, new construction is giving buyers more options and putting pressure on sellers to make their homes more appealing. As a result, while the national median home price rose slightly in July, some metro areas saw a decline, signaling a reversal in the power dynamic between buyers and sellers. It's rare to see the type of eye-popping bidding wars that exploded home values by roughly 50% nationally earlier this decade. Lowball offers are more common. I will say for us, we don't have bidding wars right now. I don't know about you guys. Yeah,
No.
bidding wars are done. But and there are some lowball offers, but it's not working really.
I can honestly say that we are seeing lowball offers.
Mhm.
I mean, our prices have come down.
Yeah.
I know nationwide they haven't come down as much, but we were crazy here in our area. So it increased so much. It was kind of time and needed to rescind a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've definitely seen home sellers come off their price significantly, or even now it's like, okay, sellers are finally realizing they're not going to get those crazy prices anymore. Yeah. So I just showed a home this week that the gentleman bought it for like $900,000 and needs to sell. No, for only reason is he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, like there's not a job or transfer or anything like that, but he's listing it at $750 just to get it sold.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are seeing some like aggressive price drops.
Oh yeah. No, we're not seeing that.
Really aggressive.
Yeah. We're not seeing that. I mean, our sellers are still holding on. Mm-hmm. They're still holding on right now. And I've talked about this last week. I've had some buyers, we've looked at houses and then I've gone back and I've looked at comps and I'm like, this is grossly overpriced. Like not just a little bit, it's grossly overpriced. Yes. And I'll talk to the agent. I'm like, talk to me about the price here. Like help me understand this. And they kind of start hemming and hawing and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like in these markets, in my opinion, the sellers that are really selling have those agents that are really educating them on what's going on in the market and what is going to make their house sell and where they really have to be priced.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, and you would probably agree, it's a lot of it is the condition of the home. Mm-hmm. We have, as the article stated, we have a lot of new construction. Mm-hmm. And when we're competing with new construction, the resale homes have to be
pristine.
Yes. They need to show beautifully. And unfortunately in our area, I tell people like a 7-year-old home can feel very, very dated here because we have so much new construction.
Yeah.
To compare it to.
Well, and it's funny because we have a lot of new construction too, but we've sprawled out so much that our new construction's on the outskirts of town. And so a lot of people that move here don't necessarily want to live out there because they feel like they're too far out.
Mhm.
And so when they come in, if they look at new construction in the beginning and end up saying, no, that it just ends up being too far, and they come in, then they start looking at the houses and to your point, maybe they're only 7 years old. They're like, man, this feels old. It feels dated. It feels, all the things. And it's like, but you have to look at it and go, okay, the air conditioner is only 7 years old. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Roof's only 7 years old. It's not bad. Paint does a lot. I always tell people, I'm like, paint is the cheapest way to make an entire house feel completely different.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are very economical ways to make a home feel fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. So I'm going to jump back in here. So despite the hopeful trends, the housing market remains mired in a slump. Sales of previously occupied U.S. homes are running about 1.3% below where they were through the first 7 months of last year, when they sank to their lowest level in 30 years. The national median home listing price rose slightly in July from a year earlier to $439,450, according to Realtor.com. The real estate listing company found the real estate listing company found the most a home buyer who earns the median U.S. household income can afford to spend on a home is $298,000. The analysis assumes a 20% down payment and a 30-year mortgage at a fixed rate of 6.74%. But those criteria, 7 out of 10 home shoppers are priced out of the market. But I'm gonna jump here because I want to show that this is something that I think we need to talk about. Like, here is what the current mortgage rate is. So today, a 30-year fixed is at 6.29%. Now, I always give the caveat, right? This is for somebody with stellar credit, all the things. So you do have to be aware that if you walked into a mortgage broker and said, I want the 6.29% mortgage rate, you might not get it, but rates have come down pretty significantly, which in another article, which we might get, hopefully we'll get to, it says from where the rates were to where they are now, it gives buyers about a $20,000 buying power back.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, which is pretty significant.
It is pretty significant, especially if our prices continue to come down.
Right. I mean, and for us, to the question that I asked you, as far as like seller concessions and things, we're seeing here in our market now, it's pretty price point specific. Like once we get over 8, even 750, we don't see a lot of seller concessions unless it's small little things that we're using as negotiating on repairs and things. But anything below that, our average seller concession is about $10,000. And there's about 60% of those homes that are being sold that are getting it.
And are they getting much off list price and the $10,000?
I would, so they're on the lower end homes, it's about 98% list price to sales price. But then they're getting like $10,000 in seller concessions on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, people are able to make some deals, and they're able to, really negotiate. And that's the thing that people need to know, is that you can negotiate on this. Now, the seller doesn't have to agree. And trust me, I've run into enough of those right now with the sellers that are just really digging their heels in. They're like, no. This is what my house is worth. I am not budging on that at all. Which is one of the reasons what we talked about earlier. We're seeing some people pull their house off the market. They're like, if I'm not going to get my price, then I'll just stay.
Yeah. And I've had a few different people talk to me about that just recently, because this is the time of year for us that people really start thinking about putting their homes on the market as we go into actually our heavy selling season in the winter months. So people are asking me, like, how much is it really worth today? Like, we know we lost value in the last 18, 24 months,
Mm-hmm.
but how much value have we really lost? Because are they losing a lot or a little, or, it depends on when they bought it, how much they paid for it, if they have equity in the home. And I think there's been lots of articles. There's a lot of equity in homes.
Well, I was just going to say I think it's like over 60% of homeowners right now have no mortgage.
Yes. And then I think I heard a statistic, and of the people that have mortgages, like it's like 70% have a 3.5% or lower.
Yeah.
So it's understandable why we're in a housing slump.
Well, I know. I keep saying this. I'm like, we're in like this push-pull thing with the buyers and the sellers. The sellers are like, look, I'll move, but it needs to be worth my while. Otherwise, I'll just stay. Like, I'd like to move, but I don't have to move.
Mhm.
But we've got those people that do have to move. And I've had a few of them. And it's funny, I've talked about this too. I've had quite a few people that are going to move here for either job relocation, or it's just time for them to move.
Mhm.
And they come and they all tell me, like, I'm going to find the place first. I really want to get my arms around everything, which is fine. They should. And then they go home and they tell me, when I put my house on the market, it is going to sell in days. I will have multiple offers on my house, the whole thing. And I would say 4 of them that told me that, all 4 of them, their house sat on the market for a good month or
Oh,
longer.
really?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of clients from the Northeast,
Mhm.
and that market is still very hot. And my New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts clients that are moving to Florida for the warm weather, that statement of like, I'm going to put my home in the market and it will sell
Yeah.
within 3 days, it's happening.
Yeah.
And so that's why I encourage people, like, if you're still in a really good market and you thinking about, like, let's talk about what that looks like, because right now we're in a very strong buyer's market.
Right.
Interest rates coming down, that might not continue to stay that way. But if your market is still really good, maybe it is time to put your
Right.
home on the market.
Right. Well, and I mean, what I've told all the buyers that have come to me and said that, I'm like, I highly suggest you talk to a real estate professional that is in your market and just make sure, because I've had too many people tell me their house is going to sell like that and they're no problem at all. The other houses down the street from me that have sold in days, and then they've just sat on the market. I'm like, please talk to somebody and just make sure.
Yeah.
Because one of mine, literally, he was going to have to, we wrote an offer contingent on their house selling. We thought for sure they would have an offer. And they were like at the 12th hour, had to call and say, how can I keep this together? Because they didn't want to lose the house.
Yeah.
So they were going to have to pull money out of 401k and move some money around. And then literally in the 13th hour, they ended up getting an offer on their house.
Oh.
And they didn't have to do all of that, but we had to finagle the close date just by a few days, just so that kind of kept everybody okay. But I mean, there's just and this is why I always tell people when they get, I can feel them kind of getting anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, look, there are a lot of moving pieces to moving and buying in a place that you don't know. So, just, this is where you got to lean on that real estate agent that you trust, wherever it is, where you live or where you're going, and they will guide you through the whole process.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things that we've experienced in our careers, and we always get something new that you can't believe, that it's new to us at this point, and yet it is. And it's that experience.
Yeah.
Like you have to have somebody that's experienced, or, that can, we've solved lots of problems.
I feel like that's really what our job is.
100% agree with
problem
that.
solvers. When it's funny, I was talking to somebody yesterday about moving here, and I can tell he's very detailed, which I love. Very detailed. He's already done a ton of his own, investigation and digging and getting all this information and everything. But he starts asking me questions, and I'm just rattling off all these things. And he was like, "This is what I need." He's like, "You have tribal knowledge that I can't find anywhere else." And so, but you forget about that. I forget, and I'm like, the amount of like what I feel is like useless knowledge that's in my brain about stuff. My mother-in-law got new light switches, and I was like, "Can I show you how these work?" And I'm showing her. She's like, "How do you know this?" I'm like, "This is what I do for a living. Like, I turn lights on and off all day.
Yeah,
I have to know how to. It's just I don't know. Unless you've been in this business, it's hard to explain. But the things that you have to know and the things that you have to kind of know how to navigate it's vast.
Well, and it's amazing how many things with each transaction or each house that you learn, and it's almost like you store it in the back, and all of a sudden you're like, I didn't even know. It's almost like, oh yeah, I know that. And people ask, well, how? I'm like, I don't know. Probably sold a house that had some, weird
Yeah.
fixture that it only, did
Yeah.
that or something.
Yeah. It's very funny. All right. I'm going to jump back into this article over here. I'm going to make sure I'm sharing. Okay. Okay. So the housing market has been in a rut since 2022 when mortgage rates began climbing from historic lows. The number of homes available for sale sank while prices kept rising. Nationally, more homes are going on sale and remaining unsold longer because buyers have been unwilling or unable to make a deal. Active listings, a tally that encompasses all homes on the market except those pending and a finalized sale, increased in July for the 21st month in a row, climbing nearly 25% from a year earlier, according to Realtor.com. The inventory of homes for sale across the U.S. has increased gradually as the market has slowed and is now at a level where supply and demand are more balanced. But in states like Texas and Florida, the number of homes on the market has climbed sharply, partly because those states are hotbeds for new home construction. Home shoppers may now have more leverage relative to sellers in the South and West, where home inventory has risen in the single digits compared to pre-pandemic levels. Conditions are tougher in markets in the Midwest and Northeast, where the supply of homes remains 40 and 50% below pre-pandemic levels, according to Realtor.com. After roughly 2 months on the market and 3 open houses, Doug McCormick's home has yet to receive a single offer. A retired business owner and his wife initially listed the 4-bedroom, 4.5-bath home located in Evergreen, a mountain community about 30 miles west of Denver, for $1.3 million. They lowered their asking price to about $1.28 million. That too failed to bring a buyer. That's not a big enough price adjustment. I'm not even in there, and I can tell you that's not a big enough.
I know. When I read that, and I was like, that is not a price adjustment.
That is not a price adjustment. Let me see if I can bring it back up in people's searches.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
McCormick 80 says he's hoping his mortgage rate eases a bit and brings out more buyers, but he's also considering just renting the property out. So that, I read this earlier and I thought about this as a question. Are you seeing that too from some sellers, that they need to sell, they want to sell, and they're moving someplace else, but their home isn't selling and they've just said, I'm just going to rent it?
A few will, because they feel very strongly that their home is worth a certain value, or they feel even more strongly that the value is going to come back in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, it's fine with them,
I can hold on to it.
Yes. Specifically, if they're not using the proceeds to buy another home,
right?
Why are they moving? What's the purpose behind the move? But also, I will say here locally, one thing that I really noticed in 2025 was that there were a lot of people that didn't move, sellers that stayed in their home all through the pandemic, that probably wanted to move in 22, but they couldn't find a home to move to, right? Yeah. And so they put off moving. And that's part of what drove our inventory up. And now they're like, just get rid of it.
Right.
We've already, we found the home back close to our kids or grandkids, or because we got a job in Kansas City or Chicago or something, like, so now we have to sell it. Like, we have to sell it.
Well, and from the pandemic to now, they've got room.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. To me, it's only the people that bought about 23, early 24 that are probably completely, they definitely have lost value. I built a home that time. I know that my value is not the same.
Yeah.
But pretty much right now, in my videos that I do, I tell people we're kind of at about 2022 prices now, because they continue to increase for the next 24 months after that. Yeah. So 2025, we've just retracted to about 2022 prices. Now, some people are like, I don't care, just sell it at whatever I can get.
Yeah.
But others are waiting. And as I talk to agents and present offers, the one thing I hear is like, everyone is just kind of making lowball offers to see what they can get.
And that,
excuse me.
Yeah. Bless you. I see that here. Bless you.
Sorry.
It's okay. It happens. I see it here a little bit, but from my buyers, I'm just looking at the homes and I'm looking at what the comps are. And we just still have some homes that are just really overpriced. and sellers that are not willing to lower their price.
Oh, we have them. We
Yeah.
definitely have them, you know. And then some people are saying, I don't want to lower my price. Just tell people to make an offer because we know we're going to get a low ball offer. And I can't argue too much with that because if you keep lowering, let's say a price 500,000 and they drop it to, 475 and they get an offer of 410, they're like, no, but we're not going to come down to 450 or 435 and then get an offer of 300 or something crazy.
Right. I get that. My thing always to sellers when they say, well, why, if they like it, why don't they just make an offer? And I'm like, seller or buyers don't want to make an offer to a seller that they don't feel is realistic.
Exactly.
They just don't. They don't want to go through that process of like, well, now I've just offended them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've just started everything off on a bad foot, which that's not what their intention is, right?
It isn't. Yeah. And again, I always look, I say this to all my sellers. Hey, if someone's willing to take the time to put the offer on paper, good or bad, let's work through this. And again, that's where an experienced agent, like let's try to work through this. And I've gotten offers from my sellers that didn't come together for various reasons.
Sure.
And sometimes it's just the terms. It's not always the price.
Right.
It's the other terms.
Right. No, I agree with you. I mean, I have a client who really, really, really wants to buy a house and it is grossly overpriced. We have tried, I keep checking in with her. Are they willing? I mean, it's been on the market for over 200 days.
Oh, wow.
And are they willing to take my clients out? Oh no, it's still way too low, way too low. And I said to her yesterday, I said, I get it, but he wouldn't have any carrying costs and he's an investor. He's flipping this house. I said he would get rid of all of his carrying costs. And she goes, well, he paid cash. And I was like,
you still have
carrying costs. Exactly. I said, you still have utilities, you have maintenance, you have all,
taxes,
all these things.
Insurance.
Right. All of that would be gone. It's not just if you have a loan. Mm-hmm. And at some point, that it all adds up and all that time that you held on to that price, you've really erased all of that money that you've made back. If you can ever get the price.
Yeah. And we know days on market is critical. I don't know if you're seeing this yet, but I am starting to see, and again, we all have access to history, but
mm-hmm.
Sometimes people will take the home off the market. In our market, if it's been removed for 60 days and it comes back on, it doesn't show history.
Oh, ours does.
See, and so a lot of people will wait 60 days, put it back on. Now, and again, an agent, we can find out, what it was listed for and how long it was listed and all of that. I mean, and it's on Zillow too, I think. So.
It is. And it's on Realtor.com. I mean, I have people tell me that they're like, it was listed at this time and it was listed at this time. And like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh yeah, you guys have all the information, which is great. I mean, I think it's awesome that they know all of that. Ours is 90 days and then it resets the days, the clock for days on market, but we still have a history tab. So we go into that history tab and it shows us all the times that it was listed, canceled, expired, sold, all of that. It shows us everything, so we can see. I mean, and so I think right now, again, we look at that supply and demand in the market overall, and everybody says, well, we've got more supply than we have demand. And I keep saying just from my clients, like, I feel like the demand is there. It's the fact that they're really looking at prices, and I didn't say this at the beginning. I put a poll question on my channel. And if you guys haven't gone and taken a look at that poll and voted, make sure you do that. We'll go over that at the end because I've been kind of watching it. It's kind of interesting to see what people are saying about mortgage prices and why they're buying and not buying and all of that. So I forgot to mention that earlier. So go take a look at that. But that's kind of what I feel. I don't see the fact that there's no demand. We have demand.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I definitely have a few buyers that know where they want to be, have cash ready to go. Yeah. And there's not the inventory.
100%. I have 7.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, literally, I can't. We are scouring everything. I am calling agents to try to find houses that aren't on the market yet. And doing everything I can to try to find houses for them. And there's really not a lot out there.
Yeah. It's a weird market because there's so many people that can't find the perfect house. And yet all we hear about is a buyer's market. And it's true. Like, we do have homes that are setting, and we do have homes that people are offering low and dropping prices. But that's why presentation, the home has to be the right home, the right location. And, it's all about location to start with.
Totally.
And we know that. And then it's condition.
Right.
You can't change, location. You can change condition. And the only other thing is price.
Right.
So
Exactly. I know it. I mean, in the times of, it doesn't matter what your house looks like, just put it on the market and it will sell. Long gone.
no, we don't have that at all.
Long gone. Right. When this is really interesting. So I have a client that, the person I was talking to yesterday, he brought up a house specifically, and it's in my neighborhood. I know the house. My clients used to live in the house. And he's like, what about this house? And I was like, don't do it. I'm like, it backs 2 major roads. I said, I know the people that used to live in the house. They're my clients, and they sold it during the pandemic because they knew that they could sell it, and they sold it. They got multiple offers. They got over their list price, and they were able to stay in their house for a month afterwards.
Yeah.
And they were very smart in selling it at that time, because otherwise, no way.
Mm-hmm.
No way. And those times are gone. So houses right now, again, that I'm seeing in some of the areas where my clients are looking, I'll get so excited. I'll be like, oh my gosh, there's a new one. And I'll look, I'm backing a major road.
Mm-hmm.
Backing a major road. I'm like, it's just killer.
Yeah.
Absolutely killer. So, I mean, the whole supply and demand, and we were talking earlier as well, I think your seasonal part of your market is probably similar to ours too, because of the heat and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We are starting to see more homes come on the market right now. Just this last couple weeks, we've started to see kind of the more normal number of homes come on the market. And we really believe, again, that a lot of that has to do with the fact that the interest rates have dropped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that some of those sellers kind of think, well, they're not terrible. I can, I have the ability to move, and maybe I can get more money for my house now that the interest rates are down. But it's still not where it was. No. And so we'll probably have more come on in October when our temperature really kind of hopefully starts to really drop. Everyone's like, said September, the temperatures are going to change. I'm like, we got at least another month.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same
at
here.
least another month.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to jump back into this. I think this one's about, there we go. So McCormick's situation is not unique. As demand has slowed, more sellers have resorted to lowering their initial asking price, often multiple times, to no avail. Even though we are seeing substantial amount of price reduction, sometimes it's not enough for a home to move. It's still sitting. The median home listing price in Austin fell 4.9% in July from a year earlier, while in Miami it dropped 4.7%. Among other metro areas that had sharp drops in their listing prices were Chicago with 4.4%, Los Angeles with 4.2%, and Denver at 4%. You guys have seen a big drop. Do you really think that your drop is primarily based on the insurance issue?
It's in our area. Unfortunately, last year we really did have the perfect storm because we had high interest rates. Insurance is very major in our particular, where I'm at in Sarasota, Siesta Key, Longboat Key. We got hit with multiple hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, and I've been here for almost 9 years, and that's the first time that we've had any direct hits. And so it did put first of all, there was a fear.
Sure.
So it slowed that down. And then we had a lot of inventory because there were people that are like, I'm not going to redo. Like, I'm not fixing this. I'm selling it for land value.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. So that, I would say most of those properties have now been picked up by investors, or somebody has come along and taken those homes and they've sold for what they could get, So that was significant to us. And so, but as I said, most of those properties are gone. And I think a lot of people now, for us, are just kind of like, okay, we have about Today's September 12th. We have about 40 more days, 45 more days of like kind of like get through hurricane season, get through hurricane season for us. It's
Yeah.
always like, what's in the Atlantic? Like, like let's wait and see what happens. And hurricanes don't hit everywhere every year. So
No.
like but yet that fear is there.
Sure.
So, but I can tell you, I'm busier this September. I've gotten more calls in August of September this year than I did last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just me, if I attribute it to some marketing or doing something different, but I really love, and I'm sure you do this too. Like I track the calls and I
Yeah.
track the interest and, and talk to other agents too. Am I just having this, off month where everyone's calling me this month? But I talk to builder reps and agents and, everyone is saying like the phone's ringing.
Yeah.
So I think 2026, again, 2025, perfect storm with tariffs and, new president and so many things happening that I feel like for us, I think we're going to level off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think that's we always kind of get lumped in there with, the Arizona market is gone down and the whole thing. But we really, I mean, our prices have come down a little bit, but we really haven't come down a ton. I mean, I know I keep talking about like sellers are over listing their price, or I'm sorry, overpricing their homes. But overall, our home values haven't dropped. I don't know that they've dropped 2%.
Oh,
Overall.
wow. That's like, we have definitely lost more than 2%.
Yeah. We've come down and again, certain areas and certain, price points are being hit a little bit more than others. But, I'm going to pop up another, chart here because it's something I usually share every time. So this is what we call the Cromford report. And so I always talk about this on my channel with so many other places that you don't have as much data. We have somebody that's so great. They analyze our real estate market every single day. And so they've got all these charts and all this stuff. It's fantastic. But we don't look at our market as six months inventory buyer's market, 6 months, below 6 months, and the seller's market. We don't look at it like that. At least nobody that uses a Cromford report. We look at it with these numbers. So there's a Cromford market index, and this is the top 17 cities in our market, and it tracks every single one of them. So if it's over 110, this Cromford market index, if it's over 110, then you're a seller's market. Between 110 and 90, and you're in a balanced market, and below 90, you're in a buyer's market.
Wow.
So all of these cities, well, Peoria, Tempe, Goodyear, not really. They're not really on the outskirts, but Surprise, Queen Creek, Buckeye, Maricopa, all have new construction. All of them. And they're all way out a lot farther. But the thing is like they've all gained. Like Surprise has gained 13 points in a month. I know. So I mean, and you guys, Paradise Valley had gone bananas, and they jumped 30% in a month over month, but they've gone down 15% this month. Fountain Hills has gone up 25%. Scottsdale's gone up 22%. So our market is rebounding in certain areas, which, these are the things that I track here personally, because this tells me, and tracking that Cromford market index and tracking some of the other reports within that, which is so dense, tracking that tells me kind of where prices are headed. Mm-hmm. It's not, they don't predict anything, but it tells me where they're headed, and it tells me what to look for. Kind of where we're seeing prices. And that's how we know, $10,000 is about the average that people are getting as far as concessions and all of that. And it also, that is seasonally adjusted. So it doesn't adjust really crazy, but there's another report that's not. And so that one, it will spike and dip pretty fast, just based on maybe one sale that was really high in that one area. And so it just spikes it out. But so it's good to watch, and it's good to see. And what they're kind of tracking, like we have more demand right now because interest rates have come down. However, we can't put all of our eggs in that one basket as
Yeah.
far as interest rates. Like something else is happening. And as you and I were talking about earlier, we know that the Fed is going to meet. Everyone's saying that they're going to reduce the Fed funds rate, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the mortgage interest rates are going to come down. In fact, it's probably the opposite. We're probably going to see a little increase in the mortgage interest rate, not by a ton, but we'll probably see a little bump. Every time they do it, they bump it, the mortgage interest rate pops just a little bit, and my phone goes off. And they're like, why is it? What happened? I thought it was supposed to come down. And I'm like, the Mortgage Bankers Association has already baked this in.
Yeah.
So you can't, it'll probably settle back down. Give it a couple weeks, you know?
Well, the fact that we're down to low sixes,
huge.
At least we're going in the right direction.
Huge. I know. Huge. And what, to me, what is promising as well, because before it was like, it was moving, but the 10-year treasury wasn't really moving.
Mm-hmm.
The 10-year treasury has gone down too, which that to me feels good.
Yeah. Because mortgage rate is based on the 10-year treasury.
Right. Where before it's like, okay, it's coming down. Why is it coming down? Like, are they artificially decreasing it?
Yeah.
And, you know, are we going to skew that market? I read something last week on my live from Logan Motashami. I don't know if you know who he is, from Housing Wire. Super smart. And he feels like they, again, as they kept it high for too long, they kept it low for too long as well.
Oh, I completely would agree with that statement. I mean, I think we all probably are like, this is not smart.
No, I mean, when it was low for that long, you just go, oh my gosh, like what, like you can't sustain that for any length of time.
It was way too drastic for way too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't foresee that that's going to happen anytime. I mean, 3% interest rate.
No, I keep saying that too. I'm like, whatever you do not hold out hope for 3% again. Not going to happen.
No,
it's not going to happen. I mean, and that's, I think, one of the big things too for buyers when they're looking at some of this is they go, you know, okay, great, the interest rate's coming down, but I'm waiting until it's 3%. You're never going to buy a house.
No. And prices are just going to go, if it's 3%, our prices are going to be high again. So.
Right. I know. And this is one of the things that I say, and then I get annihilated in a comment somewhere that telling me that I'm just a real estate agent. And I just need a paycheck. I'm like, if a buyer can buy comfortably, now is a good time to buy, always, because you will always be happy that you bought now versus in 10 years.
And how many times have we had people that said to us, oh, I wish I would have bought
100 times.
And I always say, you know, you buy when it's the right time for you.
Right.
I'm not going to convince you to buy a house just because
that's not my job.
No.
That's what I like. I say that all the time. And then again, I just I always, that's why I say it. I'm like, just go ahead. I'm going to say it for you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that I, just need a check. I do not, I promise you, but it's what I believe. I just do. But again, I don't tell people to buy anything they cannot afford.
Oh,
that is not a good idea.
No. And it's funny because, I'm sure you too get this where people say, I want to spend X, and you show them that. I'm never the one that's raising their price.
No.
But depending on where you're coming from, or when you start looking, can you go higher? Can you go lower?
Right.
Can you get more for, your money than you thought you could? And sometimes you can.
Well, and that's the thing I always tell them. I'm like, if you're getting a loan, my suggestion is always go talk to a lender.
Oh, 100%.
Here's a couple, because what I want you to understand is I want you to understand what your monthly payment's going to be.
Yeah.
You have something in your head. You're like, no, I can't afford anything more than this. I've put my stuff into the Google mortgage calculator. This is all I can afford. Right. I'm like, go talk to a mortgage person, because you might be able to afford more than you think. Doesn't mean you have to. No. Does not mean you have to, but that mortgage payment is what you're going to be living with for the next 30 years, unless you decide to refinance. And the only time you're going to refinance is if the interest rate comes down. And then guess what? You're going to be saving money.
Yeah.
So I always suggest that, because, the Google mortgage calculator can only do so much, and there's things that a mortgage broker can talk to you about. Is a good one, not
a good one. And if you have good credit too, like
your interest rate's going to be much better.
Yeah.
Much better, which is always a benefit, if you can afford more. Mm-hmm. So, all right. I want to bring up this other article from Redfin that says lower mortgage rates trim hundreds off monthly payments, yet homebuyers are still cautious. Not a incorrect statement. So that says the daily average mortgage rate declined to an 11-month low of 6.28% this week, this is what we were talking about, upping home buyers' purchasing power by more than $20,000 since midsummer, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
Declining mortgage rates are one factor pushing the median U.S. monthly mortgage payment down to $2,604, more than $200 below May's all-time high. But home prices are still rising. The median sale price was roughly $393,000 during the 4 weeks ending September 11th. That's up 1.7% year over year, the second biggest increase since April. Sales prices are rising partly because new listings are losing steam. New listings are up 1.3% year over year compared to double-digit increases in early spring. Some prospective sellers are staying put due to the lackluster home buying demand, and some because they don't want to buy another home while costs are high. Despite falling mortgage rates, many house hunters are staying on the sidelines. Pending home sales are up just 1.1% year over year, the smallest increase in 2 months. And Redfin's Home Buyer Demand Index measures Home Buyer Demand Index, a measure of tours and other buying services from Redfin agents, is declining. Redfin agents say there are, my thing is text. I feel like I turn it off every time and then it comes through. Redfin agents say there are some buyers out there, but a lot of buyers are being picky with how they spend their money and are often trying to negotiate with sellers. There's not a flood of buyers right now that mortgage rates are coming down, but I am seeing a trickle as some house hunters do the math and realize rates have dropped enough to fit a monthly payment into their budget. A lot of house hunters are waiting because they think mortgage rates will drop more when the Fed cuts interest rates, which is not interest rates, it's the Fed funds rate in September. I'm trying to advise buyers that's unlikely to happen and that now is a good time to lock in a rate. So it says the daily average mortgage rate fell from 6.85% a month ago to 6.28% at the start of this week, partly because of the 2 weaker than expected jobs report and partly because the Fed Chair Jerome Powell indicated in his Jackson Hole speech that the Fed will cut rates in its September 17th meeting. Markets have already priced in the upcoming rate cuts. Rates are likely to fall immediately following next week's Fed meeting. I disagree with that last statement.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see a significant drop at all next week.
I think it's going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
As I said, 6.85 to 6.28 is a significant drop.
It is. I agree. I mean, we've seen in our market, we've got a chart again in the Cromford report that we hit 6% and all things change. Everything changes, and after the market had seen like a 7% and then we got down to 6.5%, that sparked a bump, but that was last year.
Yeah.
And I feel like this year it's been a little bit more sticky.
Yeah. And I think it's funny when I read some of these Redfin reports or Realtor.com reports, because, they're talking, the last 5 years have been up and down and
so crazy.
Excuse me, all over the place. And like a 1% increase or 1% decrease, that's insignificant.
I agree.
Double digits is significant, but a 1.1%.
I know.
You could have and it's also nationwide.
Right.
And so, as we talked about at the beginning, real estate is local.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing nationwide isn't necessarily what you're seeing or what I'm seeing.
Right. Well, and I mean, you talked about where your buyers are coming from in the Northeast. Yeah, like that market's still crazy.
It is.
There's not a lot of markets out there that are so crazy right now. So, those markets could be skewing all the other data.
Typically, what I have found, Florida kind of leads the way many times. I mean, we led the way back in 2008 with.
I think we were right behind you.
Crash and we kind of started this whole declining market. I mean, of course, we also had some of the largest gains during the pandemic. So naturally, we're going to see that happen. But I also think Florida will come out of it quicker, and some of these other markets are going to, start experiencing what we've been experiencing for the last 18 months.
Well, I feel like Florida and Texas
Mm-hmm.
really kind of, because you guys had so much new construction.
Yeah.
So much new construction. And then you guys kind of started to tank. And your market just shifted pretty drastically. And then, I mean, our market shifted for sure. And then Vegas.
Yeah.
But the big difference for us this time around, and I mean, again, we're not crashing by any means. I just want to get that off the table.
I say that too. We've lost value, but this is not a crash. This is a correction.
100%.
And, in the last 18 months, we may have lost 10 to 12% from the peak, but honestly, we weren't going to continue to increase by 10%.
No, you can't.
No, it did become unaffordable.
Yeah, no, But I mean, for us, one of the things that is really kind of keeping us propped up right now, and probably keep not sending us in the same direction that you and Texas, Florida and Texas are, since 2008, our job market has completely changed. Absolutely changed. I mean, they're starting to call us the Silicon Desert because we've got so much tech here now. Mm-hmm. We've got a ton of healthcare. We've got TSMC, which is the semiconductor plant. We've got huge, like we've got a battery plant. We've got Apple here. I mean, there's just so much stuff here. And believe it or not, there's some people that I've helped move here recently. They were relocated here by their jobs, mm-hmm. and they're not, they're high paying jobs. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good for that area.
It's great for the area because, I mean, everybody always thought, like where I am in Scottsdale, especially in the North Scottsdale area, that it's all retirees. Mm-hmm. That's all that it is. And we're not. Mm-hmm. We're not. We still have them. They still come here because we have a lot of golf courses.
Yeah.
And it's really pretty. And a lot of clubs and all of that. But it's not just for retirees. It's just not.
I would say that's true even in Florida. I mean, our job market isn't going to be as strong. I mean, yes, Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, there are cities that have stronger job market. But even in our area, we are seeing more and more families move here all the time. And usually one person is remote worker,
yeah.
And whatever the other industry is, but we're having a lot of families move to the area because just the city, the year-round activities,
the quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. And ours is too. I mean, people come, and it's funny. I made this comment, and I always talk about this on all my other videos. I'm like, if you are thinking about moving here, you have to come during the summer. Please don't just come during March. You have to come during the summer to really experience what the heat is like. And I had to laugh because this year, so many people took me up on that. I was getting phone calls. They're like, we're coming next week. And I was like, oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. All right. We'll figure this out. I mean, I had so many people come this summer, which I was grateful for because I really want them to experience what the heat is like.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can handle it. I always tell people, like, it's hot. Yeah. And I get that question. Is it really that hot? I'm like, yeah, it's hot. You can live in it. It's not that you can't live in it, but you have to know what it's like.
Yeah.
And you have to understand your way of living and your kind of way of getting about does change.
It does. And for us, we always joke that we have reverse snowbirds. Yeah. And actually we here in our area, August and September, so many people are gone. I mean, I travel this time of year as well.
Yeah.
Because it's, businesses close for a week or two and they take their hiatus because it is hot. It's hot. It's humid. Stormy. So, but other than, 2 months, it's great, and it's every place has a month or two that is not great.
Well, and I joke because the snowbirds are starting to come already here. And when I always make the joke, when I start seeing all the car transports dropping the cars off and unloading the cars, I'm like, here they come.
Yeah.
They're all coming.
We joke about it. There's like a meme or something like, look at all those, something about all the license plates, from all over the country. Like all of a sudden in the roadways, you're like, oh, okay, it's time. Well, first you notice the traffic, but then you start looking and you're like, yep, it's time.
Right. I know. My husband stopped at a gas station that was near our house a couple years ago, And he said there was this woman standing in there and waiting to ask a question, but it was busier or something like that. And she looked over at him and was like, I forgot how to get to like, it was like Costco or something. Like, I forgot how to get, I haven't been here for a year. Like, how do I get there? He's like, okay, go down this street. Like they just, forget they hadn't been here for a while. And it's very funny, but I know our market is still strong. It will be interesting. I think what happens next month, because next month is kind of like the start of our kind of like little, maybe mini season. Because we go October and then kind of halfway through November and then through the holidays, it, really gets quiet. And then January, that is our season.
Yeah. Yeah. We're the strongest January through April for sure. But I've seen more calls this year than I did last year. So, and we actually had a late winter. I mean, like it felt like January, like it took a while for it to pick up here.
Okay.
And so it's promising to, have it feel busy now.
Yeah, I know. I was busy last year, pretty much all through the year. And I've stayed pretty busy this year as well. It right now it's just a matter of, like we were talking about, just finding houses, finding good houses, which that's the challenge right now. And it's hard because the buyers are just frustrated. And so every one of them, I just keep telling them, I'm like, I just want you to know you are not the only one that is experiencing this right now. You're not. I have 6 others just like you. We are struggling. And they'll all ask me at the end of our conversations, they're like, have you found anything for anybody else? Like they all want to know, like, did anybody else find anything? I'm like, one did, one didn't.
Yeah.
We're still looking. I know it is coming. And that's what I keep saying. I'm like, it's coming. It just, it stinks because when you are ready to move, you just want to move because moving is not easy.
No, there's nothing fun. There's nothing fun about moving. And I say that joking, like I always joke that like I help people move and I think moving is horrible.
We don't move either. I know there's some agents that move like every couple years. We do not move a lot at all. The last house we were in for 17 years. Yeah. We've been in this house already for 8 years. So, I mean, we do not move a lot. And I think the only fun part for people when they're buying a house is going online and looking at the houses on there. They get all excited. And then we start going out and we start looking at stuff and that's exciting too. Then the process really starts.
Yeah.
And then the stress level increases. Yeah.
I always joke that people think house hunting is fun the first day. and then it's like, after you've seen 22 homes, not right. But after you're like looking like, I love this neighborhood. How come there's not more homes in this neighborhood that I like?
Right. Then it gets really frustrating. They're like, but I want to live right there. Why can't more homes? And trust me, I'm sure you've done the same thing. I've written the letters to every neighbor and
we seek them out. But it's also like, I love that home. It's like, okay, at what price do you love that home?
Of course. Yeah, of course. And that's the hard part. And then it's the hard part of the sellers that are in that neighborhood that see the neighbor's house that sold for more money and they're back to the condition part. It's like, well, you don't have what their house has. So you can't get that amount. And that part's not super fun either as an agent to be the bearer of bad news, but you got to be honest.
Absolutely.
Got to be honest. Well, Lisa, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. Oh, I forgot. Let's go look at this. I forgot. Okay, hold on. I was going to forget to look at this poll. Okay, so my question was, mortgage rates are dropping. What's the real reason you're still hesitant to buy right now? And there's a tie. Still too expensive overall, waiting for the prices to drop more. Mm-hmm. And then 11% said, I don't trust the economy.
Well, I hear that once in a while too.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So this one says not wanting to buy, just looking for a house to rent for a couple years, probably Tempe too. Yeah, I get that. I mean, and there's so many other things like why would you be renting? My personal opinion, unless you absolutely have to rent, I just think that renting is throwing money away. But that's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. Then somebody said the first and the second options are essentially the same, kind of. Oh, somebody else voted. Waiting for prices to drop more. And that one is a tough one because I just don't know. I think that we would have to see, for us specifically, because we've seen this before, we would have to see a flood of inventory hit the market. And I mean, we are at about 24,000 homes on the market right now in all of Phoenix. And in the crash, we had 58. So we are nowhere near home prices crashing.
Yeah.
With that kind of inventory. So that is, that's kind of where we are with that. So again, we are not crashing. Do I think home prices could come down a little bit more? They could.
Yeah.
They could.
Anything can happen. I always
Right.
say I've not met one person that predicted the pandemic and bought 15 homes in March and then kept them for 2 years and made $1 million.
Right. Nor do I.
So we do not know what will happen.
We do not know what will happen, but we're here. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it all on the ride. So, well,
thank
perfect.
you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for joining me on a Friday evening, later for you than me, but I appreciate it. Always fun to catch up with you.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Take care. Bye, everyone.